Welcome everyone to today's Orchestrator Weekly meeting. The topic I would like to discuss today is how do we want to work upstream? We typically are doing design decisions and design discussions here in the Orchestrator Weekly and are writing them down typically just to the Orchestrator Weekly Etherpad. Can we improve things here? Is it okay for everyone if we're just putting those into the Orchestrator Weekly Etherpad, or should we write design documents? I don't know. I'm typically kind of hesitant to write design documents because I personally often think they're often not that worth writing it down. Because for me, typically it's okay to just have those bullet points here in the Etherpad. But I would like to have your opinion. Anyone wants to speak up?
It depends if they are meant to be shared with other teams or upstream, right? I mean, for example, if we are going, for example, for this one architecture about NFS to rule them all, maybe it makes sense to have it published somehow, somewhere where all members and people and even downstream people can take a look and see what is the final workflow for NFS and RGW and the dashboard and all that kind of things. So it depends on the complexity, right?
So for example, we had that Rook Orchestrator Weekly, Rook Orchestrator meeting last week, where we had a bunch of minutes in the Orchestrator Weekly Etherpad, but nothing definitive. That's a bit of edge case because there was just no solution back then. There was a follow-up meeting in the manager Rook PV's Etherpad where we came then with a proposal. That's typically how we work, right? In upstream, we are writing proposals in the Etherpad, and then just link and have those Etherpads some kind of a way to persistently store design documents. And I'm okay with it, you know? We can link them from downstream, we can link them from upstream, we can share them. But is it enough?
I think that can be heavily improved. Okay, what we have in the Etherpad is just a brief description of what are the things that we think that we need to do. Okay, but that is not a design, that is not an architecture, that is not something that is thinking in the connection between different pieces of the system, and this results in things that all the elements in the Ceph cluster are not perfectly aligned, okay? And this is because we do not have a wide vision, okay? Obviously, we need people, for example, like Sage, like you, like more people, okay, that has a good knowledge of all the ecosystem in order to do this kind of design, okay? So I think that first thing, important, to have a general backlog. Second thing, to start refining the backlog, doing designs or architecturing the features, okay, in order to have very clear what are the key points and what are the things, how we need to do these things. And after that, we can start to split that into a small task and to work in, I think, more in a team, okay, with the possibility to allow people more than one people to contribute in the same development. My view.
Yeah, that brings me to Redmine. We have an agile board in the Orchestrator in the Orchestrator project, but we are not really using it. As I personally find it a bit overwhelming and not really to the point. But there are certainly ways to make use of that Redmine board. Ernesto or Afonso, do you make use of that Redmine board? Yes, you do, right?
Which thing?
The
Redmine board?
Redmine Agile board.
Well, actually, we aren't using that.
You
we are
aren't?
mostly rely on downstream, PNT, Jira, and now we are being Jira one. But yeah, I was exploring that. I mean, you could use that. You could filter a bit some of the issues you have in that board by using a label. If you want to use Scrum and sprints, you may label things based on the sprint. So maybe cherry pick the issues that you want to work for a sprint and filter out everything else.
Mm-hmm.
I think you could also create releases. I think the subprojects can create releases that are only visible to the subproject. So you could create like 2-week releases. So
I don't know, Ernesto, like, he's referring to the dashboard that we have in dashboard, the GitHub dashboard, you mean? Sebastian?
No, Redmine
okay.
dashboard. Redmine.
No, the Redmine. But we are using a dashboard in GitHub, apart from the downstream that Ernesto commented.
Yeah, I saw that sometime, right? I think it's a project, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a project.
GitHub, yeah.
Where you see pull requests, right? You're using that to see pull requests.
Yeah. Currently, we have
the project
in the separate, yeah.
But how do you manage issues that are not yet in a pull request?
Sorry, can you put an example so we can?
If you're working on an issue where you don't have yet created a pull request.
Yeah.
Well, we open the tracker issue, right, Ernesto?
Yeah, but you cannot visualize. Yeah, the question is you cannot visualize everything in a single place. So actually, yeah, we mostly rely on downstream Jira for having a look at more or less what's on the sprint or on the 2-week cycle. I have to rely on Redmine for that.
Okay. Yeah, I would like to avoid having the use of too much downstream tools because not increasing the availability upstream here. But I see your point, yeah. The Redmine Agile board is not really great. It's certainly usable, but it's not great.
Well, you can use it, but yeah, if you want to try something like Scrum instead of the camera approach, you will need to cherry pick the issues that you want to work during a sprint.
Yeah, because we have, I don't know, maybe 200 issues in that board, and that's way too overwhelming. Especially there is no way to differentiate between the backlog and issues that are supposed to be in progress. And issues that are issues that are in need more info are also not really in progress because of the way to further clarify if they're actually going to be tackled sometime soon. Okay. Yeah, but that's helpful. We also have the Trello board. Anyone of you using the Trello board? Except for Sage?
I use it.
Hi, Sage. Trying to find it. Ceph backlog. That's this backlog, yeah. But it's not really used, at least not in our sub-project here. It's more like a general board for the Ceph project. And I have to admit, I'm not often looking at that Trello board, only if someone is pointing me to it.
What are you looking at? Are you looking at the Redmine one, or?
What I'm looking at is often just a list of issues in the Orchestrator project in Redmine, and I'm also looking at Bugzilla.
But the main benefit, Sebastian, if towards Jira is, for example, when some Bugzilla is open against us, automatically we have the Jira card created. We can then prioritize it in the backlog, put it in the sprint. So I think that this Jira Bugzilla synchronization is a great benefit. I don't know if you
Yeah,
are
but it's
making
only
use of it.
it's only downstream. That's the issue right now that I have.
Yeah, the only thing is that you have to take care of link the Bugzilla with the tracker issue in Ceph. But apart from this, you are done. That's how we work currently. I mean, someone creates a Bugzilla, automatically the Jira card is created. So you have only to put the tracker issue link or the pull request even in the Bugzilla, and all is linked. Then when the pull request is merged, you can then move the Bugzilla to modified or whatever, and we are done. I don't know if this can work for you, but
I
yeah.
hear you. I hear you. But I would like to have an
Yeah, one
upstream
single tool. Yeah.
Now, one single tool is not going to work because we have too many independent tools that are not properly interconnected.
The ideal thing would be that if Bugzilla could have some properties, some capabilities as Jira, so you could properly create sprints in Bugzilla, but I think it's very far from there. Bugzilla has not this usability.
No, Bugzilla is really the worst tool for the job, in my opinion. Bugzilla is so bad. You can't modify the issue description.
Yeah. The only thing is Bugzilla can have this upstream, downstream, in the sense that some things can be open, some things can be private, and if the tool was more like Jira, but being still Baxilla, it would be nice because you could manage upstream and downstream with the same tool. But it's not the case. I don't know if Redmine could have any upstream, downstream, or private, public, in order to manage
It's
these
possible
things.
for Redmine. It is possible for Redmine to have private issues, but private issues on Redmine are still upstream issues.
No, yeah. But for example, in Baxilla, if you search on Google, you end up, when looking for a failure, usually you can end up in a Red Hat Baxilla, but it is closed, depending on the kind of info.
Yeah, we like to avoid using Baxilla for upstream.
Yeah.
What we have so little integration between the tools. We have no proper integration between GitHub pull requests and Redmine, for example. Everything is manual, so you can't close tracker Redmine issues from Baxilla pull requests.
Maybe consuming the Redmine API through GitHub hooks, we could do it, but this need investigation.
I know that Lennox Grimmer 5 years ago tried to push upstream to use Jira, but it never went anywhere. I think we're going to be stuck with Redmine. Okay, so Adam, Daniel, what do you think of our current Redmine processes?
Not the most elegant thing in the world, but I guess it works and avoids having to change everything. Like you said, 5 years ago, he tried to do Jira and it didn't work. So we'd just be going down that path again, I guess, if we try to do that.
Daniel, do you use the board in Redmine?
Which board?
The Agile board.
No, I haven't looked at it before.
Why?
I don't think nobody.
No one pointed you to it, or is it just too overwhelming and not really
actually,
usable?
Maybe I've looked at this page once or twice before, but yeah, I've never really found it super usable or useful, I guess.
Do you think we should look into it to make it more usable?
I guess, yeah, like just for example, like the new category, like can we like prioritize these somehow and a way to like sort them so it's what's more important to be done than this list goes on for 300 or 400 things. Not sure which one would be the what needs to be done, what's the priority would make that more useful.
So we could manually mark issues, like for example tag. We could tag issues for in the Agile board and then either remove or add that issue, add that tag to the Redmine issue. And we could then maybe filter the Agile board only for things that are tagged with Agile, or I don't know. That would make it possible to have maybe 10 or 20 Agile board in Redmine and then use it maybe in the stand-up. Would that work?
I mean, what if we just wouldn't we just limit it to feature? I guess instead of bug, just filter all the bugs.
Would that work? I don't know. I mean, a bug is
Also, something that needs to be
If you're
triaged.
trying to use it to kind of like plan our weekly and keep like this is what everybody's working on. Like some people are going to be working on bugs and then they're just not accounted for. If you're just only tracking features.
I mean, there's just too many tickets. That's what it feels like.
yes.
But maybe the way to fix that is to just start closing tickets. I mean, I should start using this. I've been working off of the Trello board, but I will pin this tab.
Okay, maybe it's a job for me to just go over the Agile board if I can make use of it.
Yeah. I mean, some of these, like, even if you just look at the ones at the top, they're like not like this one, make use of progress items. I already merged something that uses progress items for deploys. The only thing it doesn't do is the drive groups because it's very awkward with the drive groups. You don't know how many they're going to be. So I don't even know if it's worth implementing. But it feels like this card is like half done and the other half is like, I don't know.
Yeah, but the important part, having OSD deployment properly visible. At least you could make a progress over the hosts. Say if you start deploying OSDs, a host you have to look at, and then if you're finished with it, then you can close it as 100%. So that could work.
Yeah.
Especially as we are not interrupting the OSD deployment. So if we start the OSD deployment on one host, we are going through all the hosts before doing anything else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, maybe we should just set aside a block of time to just scrub through all these issues. There's so much stuff here. A lot of this.
The Redmine tracker issues are super detailed. We have over over 200 issues in the Ceph project here already.
Yep.
So things like this issue here. If your host is by chance named localhost at local domain, and we are deploying 2 managers on the local host with 2 different names. This is clearly a bug.
Mm-hmm.
And I would like to get it solved, but it's super detailed, and it's in edge case. If we decide on keeping those edge cases properly documented, then I don't see a way to really reduce the amount of issues.
Well, we just have to fix it, right? Then it'll go away.
Yeah. I think we can't just close it, yeah, without fixing it.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, we should. Yeah, I mean, I think once the downstream release is out the door, then we'll can allocate some time to clean this stuff up. There's a bug, can't install Ceph ADM on CentOS 7. Like that's like won't fix, right?
Yeah, we're not going to use Ceph ADM on CentOS 7 anymore. That's done. things like Ceph and Bootstrap -- Docker doesn't actually work. This issue here. If you're doing it, it will deploy the first 2 daemons using Docker if you have Podman and Docker installed. But as soon as every other daemon is going to use Podman because it's not stored persistently in the manager module, so it's definitely a bug.
Yep.
But we can't just close it, because it is. So I don't think we can really extremely reduce the amount of issues that we have, because FADM is already complicated with lots of edge cases. Okay. Any other thoughts on Redmine and Etherpad and design documents and issues? Okay.
Did we decide that CephADM doesn't support EL7 for the host? Is it because of Python 3? Or does it?
No, the problem is the Center 7. Center 7?
Yeah.
Is that the kernel isn't reliably stop containers. There is a race when stopping containers that sometimes the container is not properly stopped and you have to restart the host in order to restart a container. And that's the reason why we had to disable the tautology test for Center 7.
Right. Okay. Was that a Docker thing or a Podman thing or both?
I think it was obvious with Podman. I don't know. It's a rare event where we cannot properly shut down containers. It's, I don't know, one in 10,000 container restarts that fail, but it's often enough that we had to disable CentOS 7 in tautology. Okay, Rook Orchestrator. There is a pull request open.
Yeah, that's me
Joseph.
asking things, okay? Just to know, well, we are going to use different PBS providers because this is something, what we have in the pull request now is something that is based in the local storage operator, okay, which is installed manually, I think. So, Joseph, can you clarify this or?
Yeah. So I think you're talking about how the whole point of like that PR is to say like depending on like what storage class the user specifies, we're going to try to get the best information we can from like different provisioners or whatever. Basically, the idea is that like whether somebody uses like LSO or OpenEBS or like Topo LVM, like there's going to be like the orchestrator will be able to get information based on like what storage class the user specifies. And we can tell like what provisioner that storage class is from so that we can look at like the correct resources. Like
Okay,
custom resources.
Okay, the two options that you have added to the Ceph list of options is in order to know what is the storage class that we are going to use. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, and so the installation of the local storage operator or another kind of operator in order to deal with PVs is something that is outside the orchestrator.
Yeah, that I think that would be something the user has to do.
Okay, well, that's the well, I think that this is a small problem because we need to specify very clearly that as requirement you need to have one of these operators running in order to use the rook operator, the rook
I
orchestrator. Sorry.
I don't think that I think the whole point was that there's a case where if somebody just like has their own storage class that they made manually and like they've added PVs that we can also display information about that. We just can't display as much information about it. So I think there is a small like there is a base case where they like it's a manually created storage class, like no operator involved, and you can
Yeah.
still like device ls because it'll list the PVs, but like it's just very, very limited information about those.
Okay. 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 I would like to test more deeply your pull request. Okay. I probably I will do tomorrow. Okay. And I will return to you with more questions probably. But good job, Joseph. Thank you.
But I agree. I feel it a bit odd that we are that in order to use the orchestrator integration, we are kind of forcing users to install another operator, which is done manually. I don't know.
I think it's because the whole like direction that Rook is going in is that they don't want to use like raw device like for bare metal setups they don't want to use like just raw devices directly. They want to like abstract it through PVs. So that's kind of where this
That's
comes
it.
from.
Well, I think that we are in the right direction, okay? And probably we can improve, for example, the pre-requirements in order to have an operator or to create a storage class manually, okay? Is something that we can solve in a next step, okay? So, but I think that is the right direction. Yeah.
Okay. Next topic. Ceph ID maintenance mod. Ceph ID maintenance mod. Who added that topic?
I did.
Perfect.
It's just about fetching the gather fetch or for a host if it's in the maintenance mode. But I see currently it's returning me the empty list. I guess it's mostly because all demons are down. But I'm not sure. Like even if I am because the gather fetch is fetching from the cache right now. So I was assuming that maybe it should return the host fetch, but it's giving me the empty list in case if the host is in. So I'm not sure why is that the case or.
You have to use the cached result. There is no way you can get the facts directly from the host.
Yeah.
It's just too slow. It's just not going to work. We went through it.
I tested the PR2 for this, which for introducing which got merged to for the Ceph idiom. Yeah, it does the same thing. It gets the facts from the cache itself. But yeah, my point here is like if I expose an endpoint which returns this gather facts, it returns an empty list for host which is in the maintenance mode currently. So yeah, for other host, it's working, but so I want to know the reason why is that the case if in the maintenance.
Okay.
Yeah.
We have to rework the maintenance mode anyway. in order to make the maintenance mode another label. We have the admin label, we have the no schedule label, and we have to convert the maintenance mode into a underscore maintenance label to make it symmetric with the other labels that we have. Do you want to make a tracker issue for that? A Redmine tracker issue?
Yeah, I can. Yeah, I can do that. So basically, I should create against this, like even the fetching from the cache, it doesn't return the. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I will.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Here in the Orchestrator project, please. Because you are probably the first one really consuming GetEffects. Except from a few edge cases, we're using GetEffects to change how we are deploying the ingress service. I think it's using GetEffects, or it used to use GetEffects. I don't know the very details here, but you are probably the first real users of GetEffects in general. Okay. Anything else for today? Perfect. Have a nice week, and see you next week. Bye.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks.